1. Hello, hey, it's Jack from Indie Spotlight Live here. If you're and I think I will try to put this video on Blog TV as well. And if you're watching this on YouTube, first and foremost, I got some plans for the show this year coming up. Check out my blog at riskybusiness04.blogspot.com for more details. And speaking of Risky Business 04, I'm no longer using let me rephrase that. I'm no longer actively using that screen name on Blog TV. The screen name I'm using now is Indie Spotlight Live. If you need a link and you see this video on Facebook or whatever, just message me. I'll be more than happy to get that to you. And on that note, my friends, it is now time for the Weenie of the Week, brought to you by Indie Spotlight Live here on Blog TV. This week's Weenie, Delta Airlines. Okay, this comes courtesy of our good friend Shovelhead Kevin, who dropped this link actually in the Indie Spotlight Live Facebook group. And if you're not a part of that, let me know. I'll be more than happy to get you in on that action. There's not a lot happening with the group right now. We were pretty active for a while. We kind of died off, and I'd like to really get that going again as well. I really need to throw some energy into the show and every peripheral aspect of it. In the words of Kevin, Delta is ready when you are. Just don't let them handle anything more valuable than an old carpet bag with skivvies and a toothbrush. This week's Weenie is Delta Airlines. Why? Well, let's just say a vintage Gibson guitar got mangled by their freaking baggage handlers, okay? And I wish I could put this picture up on the video, but I will have the article linked down below in the description bar if you're watching this on YouTube. The guitar in question is a 1965 Gibson ES 335, and the first thing you see is it's stuck in a Delta gate. And if you are a musician or you love guitars, you feel it going. Delta just doesn't give a shit, man. Article courtesy of Yahoo News. It was a musician's worst nightmare. At least that's how Dave Schneider, guitarist and singer for Hanukkah-themed rock band The Levies, described it when his guitar, a 1965 Gibson ES 335, got jammed in an elevator by baggage handlers at a Detroit airport. Schneider was traveling with fellow Levies guitarist Adam Gardner from Portland, Maine to St. Petersburg, Florida for a gig last month at a conservative temple when their flight was diverted to Rochester, New York due to bad weather. This caused them to miss their connection in Philly. They then drove to Buffalo to hop on a plane destined for Detroit, where they planned to make a connecting flight to Tampa. Dude, I should have just fucking drove, right? While boarding in Buffalo, he says he asked Delta staffers not to check in the vintage guitar, which he estimates is worth about 10 grand, and allow him to carry it on the plane and place it in an available space as he did in the flight from Portland. Schneider says, quote, "I've always carried it on, never been a problem before." Schneider says he even showed them a link to a story about Congress passing the FAA Modernization and Reform Act of 2012 that made it easier for musicians to fly with their instruments, allowing them to purchase an extra seat, as I should say, on the airplane for their fragile instruments, but he was denied. So, the plane landed in Detroit. He said, quote, "I had a bad feeling." He whipped out his iPhone and started filming. As the pair of rockers waited at the gate for their checked guitars, Schneider asked a member of the flight crew to check on his prized axe as it was being removed from the plane. He did and said it would be fine, but as the musicians waited for the luggage to appear, they could hear a screeching noise coming from the elevator. It was this crazy sound of metal on metal. The case carrying Schneider's semi-hollow body guitar was lodged between the mobile service elevator and a rail on the loading dock. Shaking the elevator door, the case even bent a steel beam. This is his case, okay? So he didn't do this shit on the cheap, right? The guitar itself was pinned between two beams and took workers an hour to retrieve it. The guitar itself sustained damage to the bridge, tail, and neck, and the estimated cost of repairs was $1,980 so far. Schneider says Delta has given him the runaround. He says the airline offered to cut him a check for $1,000 in Tampa, but he refused it because he didn't know how much the repairs would cost. The online claim forms he filled out after the guitar carnage were blank when Schneider checked on them, and 2 emails he sent to Delta Chief Executive Richard Anderson were not returned. Well, that guy's pretty good for that. Again, if you're watching this video, ask me about the wounded warrior and his service dog. Yeah, fuck Delta. Anyway, Delta told Yahoo News that the airline will be reaching out to the customer directly to discuss how we can make this right. Ooh, nice of you, assholes. This instance is certainly not indicative of the high regard we hold for our customers' property when they travel with us, and for that we apologize. Yeah, whatever. That was Delta spokesman Morgan Durant said in an emailed statement. We look forward to making a direct and sincere apology to the customer as we work with him to rectify what happened. This is not the first time touring musicians have clashed with baggage handlers. In 2009, Dave Carroll, Canadian singer-songwriter, turned his experience with United Airlines into a music video, and we talked about this on the show, United Breaks Guitars. If you're watching this on YouTube, just do a search. You will find the video. That one went viral, landed him a book deal. Schneider says, though he's not looking for that kind of fame, he said, I'm not a greedy dude. I'm just looking for $1,980. He just wants to fix his shit. And I think it's pretty unreasonable that Delta is giving him the runaround. But you know what? I wouldn't. You know what? If it was a choice between walking with a pair of scissors stuck up my ass to my destination and flying Delta, I'd be like, hey, look, give me the lube. I'll pop them on in there. What a crap airline. Okay. Let's see what they're saying in the chat. Okay. All right. Yeah, Deb mentioned United in the chat. Deb from the Unsigned Musician Show. Rob pointed out that he would shit. The 335 is a BB King style guitar. The 65 Gibson 335. Rob thinks that the actual value of the guitar is closer to 15 grand. He would know. Which everybody says, make it right, replace the guitar. And then we talked about, there was some discussion about the United Breaks Guitars video that's on YouTube. That Deb says it's an excellent video. Rob absolutely agrees, and so do I. As a matter of fact, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll even be so nice as to even link that video in the description bar, as well as the link to this news article. My name is Jack. I'm the host of Indie Spotlight Live here on Blog TV. We do the show every Sunday night, starting at about 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Sometimes it's 9:15. It depends on my work schedule, but we're usually here on time at 9. And I hope you'll join us. Have a good night and a great week. Thanks for watching the video.